Let's take a moment to talk about some of the documents you are going to sign. While the number of brokerage forms doesn't come close to the number of mortgage documents you will be asked to sign, getting them out of the way early means we can focus on houses up until we make our first offer. Your team member can explain each document in greater detail, but for the purposes of this introduction, we'll cover them briefly. Some of these documents are required by the brokerage, and others are required by state law. The mandatory disclosure is the first document you should see from your team member, and with good reason. A licensed real estate salesperson must present this document to a buyer or seller prior to seeing a listing for the first time, and it explains who the licensee represents. It is not a contract. Brokerages on the listing side will require this signed document with any offer we present.
The buyer's agency document represents our working relationship and defines what your team members' responsibilities are and what your responsibilities are when it comes to a home purchase. It defines how we are compensated as real estate professionals and ensures we are on the same page with our expectations. We are not able to show property as a buyer's agent without this signed document. Lead paint is unfortunately all too common. It's dangerous when consumed, especially by children under the age of 6. When used in paint, it can become flaky over time as it ages, and it is sweet, meaning unsuspecting children may think it is candy. In homes with older windows, dust created from the paint may become airborne when they are opened and closed, exacerbating the problem when it is inhaled. Lead can also be found in wood varnish. In 1975, the federal government banned production of lead paint, with a ban on use 3 years later in 1978. Therefore, while not always the case, our team members will often advise their clients to assume the home has it if built before 1978 and plan accordingly. It's required by law to test if there is a child under the age of 6 living in the property, and to de-lead the property or have the property put into compliance if discovered, which can be costly. We're required by state law to provide you with a document explaining the dangers of a lead paint and the corresponding regulations. If we end up purchasing a house built before 1978, we will be required to execute an 11-page document provided by the seller called the Lead Paint Property Transfer Notification. This document contains any notices of known lead paint in the property, and if testing was conducted, those reports are provided as well. A shorter state-required document explaining the importance of home inspections is called Facts for Consumers. Home inspections are an important part of the buying process, and a buyer's biggest tool in limiting risk. In August 2024, state legislation was passed in Massachusetts giving home buyers the right to an inspection and has been implemented as of October 2025. You will execute a form provided by the seller prior to making an offer that explains this right. The seller is actually not allowed to make a decision on an offer to purchase with knowledge of a buyer's intention to waive a home inspection. Times have certainly changed, and to your benefit. Depending on the specific properties we look at, other documents may make appearances and we will be asked to sign as part of a purchase. Seller's statement of property condition, riders, escrow notifications, Title V disclosures governing septic systems, and other documents are not uncommon to see. Additionally, we will be providing other disclosures for you to sign that include notifications and warnings on wire fraud, confidentiality, foundation issues, and/or agency at the time of offer presentation. While it may be cumbersome, there is a lot of important information that every home buyer needs to absorb as part of the process. After this initial wave of documents, the next important document you will see as a home buyer is the purchase and sales agreement, drafted by attorneys and executed roughly 7 to 14 days after an accepted offer. It is one of, if not the most important document you will sign. It governs the transaction going forward, along with everything that was agreed to with the sellers. If there is a condition you are expecting that is not reflected in this document, it cannot be enforced at time of closing. Home buyers do pay for the services of a real estate agent, but have sometimes been under the assumption that they do not. This is because real estate agents are compensated at the time of closing from the seller's net proceeds with funds brought to the table by you, the buyer. Our compensation is listed in the buyer agency agreement, and it is included as part of your offer to a seller. While just about every document up until the mortgage can be signed electronically for convenience, there is not a substitute for reading all of the important information you will receive.